All right, everyone. Mark Rogers, TV, the voice of college football. My apologies. Our 7 o'clock Miami live show ran late. We just received a flood of super chats and questions and comments to the live chat. So my apologies, but we're here to analyze the release within the last hour of the college football playoff rankings, edition number 2, after the initial rankings, of course, came out last week. So we invite you here to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. And once again, my apologies, but we are here for you. Please call in. I will post the number in just a second at 860-325-3687. That's 860-325-3687. And the super chat is available as well. All right, here we go. We've got 2 on the line. People are catching up with the link. Here we go. Let me look at the rankings. I have yet to see them. This is my first reaction. Alabama's number 1. Notre Dame 2, Clemson 3, Ohio State 4, Texas A&M 5, Florida 6, Cincinnati 7. Same top 7 as last week. Really nothing happened over the weekend that would possibly change that in any way, shape, or form. Georgia bumped up a spot from number 8 because Northwestern lost. Iowa State jumps up 4 spots from number 13 to number 9. I question that. Why all the love for Iowa State? They're 7-2. They lost to Louisiana by 17 points. We'll get to that a little bit later. Some thoughts concerning games, the weight of games, depending on where they were played, when they were played in the schedule. So Iowa State moves up from 13 to 9. Miami stays at number 10, Oklahoma 11, Indiana 12. BYU, off the strength of doing what? Moves up a spot to number 13. Northwestern drops from 8 to 14 after losing on the road to Michigan State. Oklahoma State is now the number 15 team in the country, moving up 8 spots. Oklahoma State moves up 8 spots. Oklahoma moves up 8 spots. Let me shut off that awful phone. I am still trying to process how Oklahoma State moved up 8 spots, even understanding that the rankings are not made in a silo or unto themselves, meaning there are dynamics moving all over the place. So I agree with that. I tear apart my rankings every week and rebuild it based on the schedule, based on the resume of all the teams. So your resume can change, not just based on your result, but on all the previous teams that you beat and lost to, and their changing resume. But I just don't see where Oklahoma State moves up 8 spots with an unimpressive win against Texas Tech, 50-44. Somebody explain this to me. Oklahoma State went from 23-15 after beating Texas Tech 50-44. Now, who's on Oklahoma State's schedule that would have bounced this? Iowa State beat Texas. Well, Oklahoma State played both of them. Oklahoma did not play. And there's nobody else significant on Oklahoma State's schedule that would have caused this kind of movement. That has to be explained. That's insane on the surface. Wisconsin stays at number 16. North Carolina moves up 2 spots despite losing to number 17. Coastal Carolina moves up 2 spots with another win. They're now 9-0. Iowa moves up 5 spots after beating Nebraska 26-20. They beat maybe the worst team in the Big Ten, 26-20 at home. They move up 5 spots. USC goes down 2 spots after not playing, 3-0. Okay. Marshall stays at number 21. Washington, not rated last week, wins in comeback fashion down 21-0 to Utah, 24-21 over the Utes. They're 3-0. Oregon, bad loss, loses at Corvallis against Oregon State. Was trying to remember where that game was played. So Oregon blows a 2-score lead, loses to the Beavers, and they're 3-1. They drop 8 spots. Tulsa now at number 24, 5-1, and Louisiana makes it into the poll at number 25, or into the rankings. It's not a poll. Louisiana at number 25 at 8-1. The Louisiana team that beat Iowa State, that has a better record than Iowa State and beat Iowa State by 17 points on the road, is now number 25, and Iowa State is now number 9. Why the love for Iowa State? 860-325-3687. I am going to have to get myself an Iowa State helmet. It's a must. I enjoy Iowa State football. I watched every second of the game against Texas. I've seen them play quite a bit this year. I love what Matt Campbell's doing at Iowa State. I don't understand why they are ranked number 9 in the country. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. All right, let's see what you guys have. Hey, Cheryl, good to see you. Just me, Tim, 79, Ohio State, number 1. Close. Everybody smash that like button, please. Murder Blaze, good to see you, as well as Bo. And here we've got our first call coming in.
The call will start at the beep.
Mark Rogers, TV, the voice of college football. Who's on the line?
Navy Thomas 8, buddy.
Navy Thomas, I'm trying to make sense out of these college football playoff rankings.
Let me address your background.
Okay.
Miami has losses. Michigan has losses.
Oh, boy.
Put Notre Dame back to the top shelf, along with Ohio State.
Okay.
And
Alabama.
then you figure out who's the undefeated team to replace the other one.
Alabama.
Yes, thank you. That's a good plan.
Okay. You understand, Navy Thomas, cut me a little bit of slack here that I put the teams back there that I'm talking about. So I've done some other recordings this afternoon with some of those teams. Okay, we're all set now.
Don't mind me. Don't mind me. I'm just looking at that top shelf, and I'm just going, stay with the top wins up there. And you're doing great, my friend. I love watching you every day. So
thanks, Tom. What else is on your mind?
Talk to you later.
Okay, Tom. Have a good one.
All right, buddy. Bye.
Well, it's good that we got the call from Tom right out of the gate to get us square on the helmet distribution. The helmet placement is crucial. Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State, even though Clemson's ranked higher, those are the undefeated teams that we have helmets for. No other undefeated teams do we have? No, that's it. Oh, Washington. Washington, undefeated, 3-0. Okay.
To start the call or 2 to decline. Press 1 to start the call or 2 to decline.
Here we
The call
go.
will start at the
Mark
beep.
Rogers, TV, the voice of college football. Who's on the line?
Mr. Mark Rogers, it's Ballard Sports Media again tonight. How you doing tonight?
Hey, Ballard. I'm doing just fine. How are you?
I don't know, man. Hashtag the system is broken, and the way that they rank some of these teams, I don't understand it. Do I care about every single spot in the rankings? Not really, but sometimes, I mean, I don't know. I really can't figure this out. What are they doing in that committee room, and what are they deciding? You're looking at these rankings, like you said it, like how is this team ahead of that team, and how this team has this many losses, or, you know, because we talk about these losses and everything, but we got to look at strength of schedule and everything, and some teams play a better schedule than other teams, of course, and the teams with better schedules and better records, or maybe worse records, I don't even know, are ranked lower than teams with nothing. They got no quality wins. What's going on?
Well, I don't have an issue with their first 8. So
Right.
I just finished up a Miami show in which they're unhappy about being ranked behind Georgia because Georgia's got 2 losses in particular. I don't have an issue with that. I've got Georgia ranked ahead of Miami. They play a much tougher schedule, and they played Alabama. Right. I don't look at the final score of the game. I watched Georgia play Alabama, and it was a tremendous game until about 10 minutes left.
Right.
So anyway, Georgia, I'm not going to get into Georgia. They're a really good team that's had an issue at quarterback, but they've lost to 2 of the best teams in the country. Okay, but
right.
Oklahoma State, Ballard, last week was number 23. They rose.
Yes, they were.
They rose more than any team by far. They rose 8 spots.
Yeah, they're up at 15 right now, 8 spots up.
They beat Texas Tech. Texas Tech is awful. 50-44. They didn't beat them 50-7. They beat them 50-44. They barely won.
10 points.
I don't know. I don't understand. I have no idea.
Because see, and again, it's who you play, and how did you look against them? What did you do? Like, okay, were you ranked? Was your opponent ranked? Who was your opponent? But not only that, did you beat them? How did you beat them? And like you just said, 10 points over Texas Tech. And like you said, Texas Tech is just terrible this year, man.
6 points.
Not trying to throw them under the bus, but they aren't that great. And how they rise up 8 spots, I mean, if you want to move them up a bit, that's fine. But 8 spots over that?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand what happened there.
And Oregon, now, okay, well, they lost to Oregon State, but only by like 3 points, a field goal basically, and they dropped 8 spots over a loss to their rival, I guess. I mean, but
I don't have a big issue with that, and I always explain that. So somebody had commented in our last show that North Carolina went up 2 spots even though they lost. Well,
right.
Basically, for me, 2 things factor into rankings moving around, and one would be, of course, the quality of the game that you just played, whether it be a win or a loss, and especially if you lose, there are losses that can be ranked all over the place. But if if LSU goes out this week and they lose, but they lose 31-28 to the best team in America, well, that loss needs to be evaluated much different than everybody else's losses on the same day. So I don't necessarily have an issue with that. And then you also have to take into context what's going on with everybody else. It's almost like when people ask me or anyone else, what's going to happen if Clemson beats Notre Dame? What's going to happen for the college football playoff? And you need the complete picture. So you need to know what other teams, how they fared over the weekend as well. But just, I can't come up with any explanation to why Oklahoma State goes up 8 spots, even taking into consideration the rest of the teams on their schedule, what they did. It doesn't make any sense any way, shape, or form. I hope that the committee was asked that tonight. I would hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I can't figure this out either. I mean, look, teams are going to play the schedule that they've been given. You can't, remember a couple years ago, now the ACC looks like it's improved this year, or even a little bit last year. But what's the one thing people said about Clemson? Oh, yeah, they might be a good team, but they play in the ACC, and it's cupcake. It's not a good conference and everything. Is that Clemson's fault? No. They've been given those teams. They know they got to play conference games. They can't control they can't control their schedule a whole lot. you can't control who you're playing and how your opponent's going to play. All you can control is how you look against them. So, I mean, some of these teams, they play these, whether it's a quality opponent or not, I mean, you can't control who you're playing, and you can't control what other teams are going to do, and there's just certain things that are out of your control, and you just got to look at the committee, and, and we need. So I do know this, and I'll get off here real quick, but is there a certain protocol for actually ranking the teams? Because I know there's protocol for the committee for selecting the playoff teams. Is there a protocol for how they rank them?
Well, they rank them based on the results and the performance within those results. It's my understanding that they're basically ranking that it's first and foremost a resume. They're ranking based on resume, but then there's an eyeball test component to it because they have former coaches in the room that will sway the rankings based on the eyeball test. But it's first and foremost a resume. Yeah.
See, that's what I was getting at because, the committee members can't just put teams where they want them. They got to follow through a protocol process or whatever. I don't know what it is. I mean, like you just said, the eyeball test and everything. But anyway, thanks for taking my call, Mark, and bringing us all the insight and making sense of weird situations in college football. We appreciate you, sir.
Appreciate that, Ballard. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
You too. Roll Tide.
Ballard, our big Bama fan, talking about these college football playoff rankings. And I try not to be critical. I don't come on here and be critical just to cause a stir and have people click on and watch me. I actually acknowledge that they have a difficult task. They do have a difficult task. And to select the final four teams, they've had a difficult task every year except for last year. Last year played down to a situation in which it was obvious. LSU, Clemson, Ohio State were undefeated. Oklahoma was the only conference champion with one loss. So it was ready-made for them, done. The other years, you can make a claim for a number of teams that were left out of the Final Four as being college football playoff participants. So I would never say that they have an easy job and that it's obvious by any stretch. They have a difficult task, especially when there are different levels of football. You've got your Power Five, then you've got your high-level group of five from the American Conference in particular. Then you've got your lower levels like the Sun Belt, and if MAC teams ever go undefeated, they start to creep into the rankings late in the season. So you've got to rank teams that don't even play. It's not like ranking NFL teams where they're all playing light competition. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, who's on the line?
Hey, Mark, it's Nate, the Press Warrior fan. How are you?
There he is. Hey, Nate. What's going on, man?
Not much, just depressed.
Depressed?
But,
oh, my goodness.
Well, yeah, despite that loss to a winless Penn State team.
Yeah.
But I have to give credit to them. I think they need a win, but I got to give credit to them. I think they did good that game, but I wish my Wolverines could have won. But I can't go back in the past. But whatever. So I reacted to the college football playoff rankings. I was kind of surprised that how to say, I'm not trying to be rude or anything. Just in my opinion. I don't know why Ohio State. I know they had 4 games, but why is Ohio State still in the playoff ranking? But I get why, because of COVID and stuff. But they played one good team, which is Indiana. What are your thoughts on that ranking against Ohio State or with Ohio State?
Well, it all depends to me whether you're trying to rank the best teams in the country or you're trying to rank who's earned those positions. Do I think that Ohio State's one of the 4 best teams in the country? Yes. Do I believe
Yeah,
that they've earned the 4th position in the country? Not quite, just because they've only played, to your point, they've only played 4 games, and they haven't looked overly impressive, and 3 of the teams that they've played are pretty awful, and they've played one good team, not great team, good team. Indiana's a good team, and they beat them by a touchdown. So I think there are teams with better resumes than Ohio State. I thought that up until last week that Northwestern had a better resume, and I don't even think it's debatable, than Ohio State. So that's why I've been ranking Ohio State lower than everyone else.
Yeah, I get that. So my scenario for for college football rankings, I wish that committee could switch it up. I don't know if I switch it up, but maybe switch a different team not every year, but just switch a team. It gets kind of old when Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, or whatever team makes it a 4th place. But why? I don't know why they can't just select a new team that can experience the college football playoff. I just don't get that.
So let me follow you here. I'm trying to understand what you're saying here, Nate. So if, let's say in any given year, next year, Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, and Oklahoma all go undefeated, that even though they all go undefeated, that they should kick one of them out of the playoff and throw somebody else in there just because to change it up? Is that what I'm hearing?
I wish they could do. But I get your point that if some like Oklahoma, for example, could go undefeated, maybe if that's for example, until next year and go in the college playoff again and choke again. But I just want a new team that gets the experience, if you know what I mean. Just get experience for that 1 year if they get blown out, whatever. But I talked with Ballard, but I just wanted one new team to play out that gets the experience.
Well, I would like to see some new teams too, but those new teams have to earn it, Nate. You can't just throw them in the playoff.
But that'd be awesome if, for example, maybe Coach Carolina. I don't know if this is their Cinderella year, but maybe I don't know. I don't know what other team, but I'm just giving some suggestions. But I just want to. If I were a committee, a college football playoff, for example, I would just pick the ones who haven't been to the college football playoff.
Nate, you didn't say what I just think you said. You didn't just say that if you were the college football playoff committee, you would select teams that haven't been there yet. Is that what you just said?
Sorry. Yes.
Nate, let me ask you a question. Do you run a youth soccer league and hand out participation trophies?
No.
Or is that in your future? Maybe?
Well, maybe coach a youth team, yeah.
Okay.
Football.
All right. I was just checking.
I'm sorry.
Nate, you can say whatever you want on here. I'm just having fun with you.
Okay.
All right, Nate.
All right. See you, Mark.
Appreciate the call.
Yep.
So Nate just wants to make sure we've got teams in the playoff that haven't been there before. So Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, Florida State, Oregon, Washington, LSU. Who else is eliminated? Get them out. Notre Dame can't get back in. Can't let them play. That's an interesting little exercise we could play, though. Who would make the college football playoff if they weren't allowed to repeat as participants? I guess we would have Cincinnati in there and Florida, and maybe we get, I don't know, Oklahoma or Iowa State involved. Mark Rogers, TV, the voice of college football. Who's on the line?
What's up, Mark? Hurricane Logan, brother.
Hey, man. What's going on?
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Little shook by that last call. No offense to him, of course.
Well, he just he would like to get other teams involved, even if they don't deserve it.
Maybe Michigan should go with that too. Screw it.
Get Michigan in there. Sure.
Yeah, you know me. I know it's obviously a college football show calling, but hoping Miami comes out here and spanks Duke like we should. It should be a big time win. We got our O line back; they're healthy. A lot of the O line back, not rotating any against Virginia Tech in the last game we played. So hoping for a big time win and not struggling against Duke.
Yeah, I would think that they should be able to really smack Duke. I asked Cam what they should win this game by, and he said like 2 or 3 touchdowns, and that's a significant win, I guess. But shouldn't they really just smack them down? Like, Duke's pretty awful.
Yeah, we should, especially when you look at last season, and then obviously beating us, and we had a bad season last year. But I don't know. I just hope that we come out and play a full game of football. It'd be nice to witness. Hopefully we don't use a whole COVID and rust or whatever it's going to be, God knows, as an excuse to why we may come out and play poor against Duke.
Some of your Miami contingent there might not be happy with me because if you guys play one of these like 23-19 games against Duke, I might let the Canes have it.
I won't be happy with you. You're the biggest Miami hater on YouTube, remember?
I am. I got to live up to it, so I'll just keep pouring it on.
That's awesome.
Anything else, Hurricane?
No, not at all. I just want to call in and just say, hey, ask how you were doing, how everything was going, and then, give my Miami Hurricanes a shout out. Definitely give Cam a shout out. He's a awesome dude. I enjoy watching you guys. You two together are a pretty enjoyable show, man.
That's cool to know, and I appreciate you letting us know because that people don't realize that a little encouragement goes a long way.
Oh yeah, it's probably my favorite show to watch. Honestly, is you and Cam. So, but I'll let you go. I'll let you get more callers in.
Thanks, Hurricane. Our man, Hurricane Logan. So let me get to some of these super chats. Keelani, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. Keelani, thank you so much for the super chat contribution. Not including the 3 playoff games, how many bowl games will be played at the end of this season? Last year, there were 41 bowl games. And there's actually a list that I just ran by on ESPN.com of the bowl game schedule and then all the bowl games that have been canceled. It's something around, so you can just go on ESPN.com and look up their bowl game schedule, and it's got a list of all the bowl games that have been canceled. It's something in the range of 6 or 7. So do the math, 41 minus 6 or 7. Right now, as it stands, and don't be surprised if there are other bowl games that are going to be canceled, but as it stands right now, there are going to be about 33 to 34 bowl games, as it stands right now. And then we also had our guy Keith Morton chime in with some USC talk. Appreciate that super chat contribution, Keith. USC is the best program in the country, period. Fight on, USC. Keith living in we can say 2005. 2005, best program in the country. All right, who else? Tom Herman goes to Michigan. Eric Huffman lives in Austin. I hear that Austin's amazing, and I haven't been there yet. I have yet to go to Austin. Biggest dumpster fire, Michigan, Texas, or Penn State? Michigan. Michigan. I could certainly go on for the next 10 minutes about why, but I will just say Michigan. Thought we had another contribution on here. Didn't want to miss any of the super chats that I saw on here. Lucas, the committee is just a bunch of old men and a couple of women who look at some data and make decisions. Terry is saying take Vanderbilt out of the SEC and put Ohio State in. That would be interesting. What would be interesting? There's a ton of things like that that would be interesting. It would be fascinating after we have our fights about who is the best conference and how good or bad are the conferences, just to pluck somebody out for 1 year and go send them somewhere. I've often said that because of Dabo Swinney's a different example because he's done all of his work at Clemson. So he's done an amazing job. He's one of the great coaches, but he did it all at Clemson. Nick Saban and Urban Meyer have gone anywhere. Boom, they win. So I would love to run the experiment to take Nick Saban or Urban Meyer. They're the two best for obvious reasons. They're the two best examples or case studies, and go send them to Kansas or Rutgers or somewhere and just see how much of an impact they would have. That would be fascinating to me. Cheryl's had it with the Big Ten. And I can't, if anybody's watched my recent videos, then you know that I have scolded the Big Ten quite often here recently. Yes, Keelani, hopefully you caught my response to your Super Chat contribution. And yes, it is much, much, much appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl sticking up for me, letting people know that open your eyes, I'm on the phone. Okay. Anything else that you guys have here? Cheryl doing a tremendous job here, I can see. Thought we had some other questions. Snake Spence, can I ask, how is Coastal Carolina below Wisconsin? Well, that's where the determination is between just pure wins and losses versus how much do we weight the schedule. And for Wisconsin, I understand their schedule's not been good. Yet, they're a good football team. Wisconsin is a Wisconsin football team. I believe that I've seen enough out of Wisconsin for 3 games to know that they are a typical Wisconsin team. They're one of the 15 or 20 best teams in the country, but their resume is not good. They lost to Northwestern, turned it over 5 times, lost by 10 points. Northwestern's good. We're finding out more about Northwestern. They were capable of losing. They lost to a bad Michigan State team. But Wisconsin's 2 wins, not impressive. Impressive in the way they won, but they played Michigan and Illinois. Now they've got Indiana coming in this weekend, albeit with a backup quarterback, Jack Tuttle, and we'll get more data to see, okay, now we've got a number 12 Indiana with 1 loss, and we've got a Wisconsin 1-loss team at number 15 or 16. Let's see those 2 play. So every week we uncover more and more information. Well, I've lost my place. Miles, if you did not hear off the top, I had my thoughts about Iowa State. I believe I've got the Cyclones ranked at number 17. I do not understand how they rise that quickly coming off a game in which they trailed Texas. So the result is one thing that is most important, but there's also an evaluation of the performance. And for Iowa State, they barely beat a Texas team that's lost 3 games, a Texas team that's one of the 25 to 30 best teams in the country. Texas, I believe, was ranked last week. Were they not ranked last week? Well, if you take the same, let's take the same college football playoff selection committee approach to Texas as we do North Carolina. North Carolina was 19 last week. They lost by a couple scores to Notre Dame at home, and they went up 2 spots. Notre Dame's the number 2 team in the nation. Texas was, what were they, like 23-24 last week? They lost in the last seconds to Iowa State. They actually came that close, missing a 50-yard field goal to tying the game and going to overtime. So Texas loses to Iowa State, who's now ranked 9th in the country, in the closing seconds, and they completely disappear out of the top 25. I don't know that that's real consistent. Yes, I would like to come to Austin. I would like to give Austin a look. Maybe move there sometime. Maybe. Miles is hammering home Iowa State. Yes, that's my thought on Iowa State. They're ranked too high. They're ranked too high. Oklahoma State's ranked too high. And it's not just where Oklahoma State's ranked at 15. It's that they went up 8 spots after beating Texas Tech by 6 points, 50-44. You beat Texas Tech by a 50-44 score, Texas Tech, and you get the biggest bump of anyone for the week. And I understand that the committee will say, we don't say you were 15 and you had a nice win, so we're going to take you to 11. I know that they don't do that. They say they completely tear all the rankings down, take all the teams off the board, and then completely rebuild it the next week. I get that. I do the same thing building my rankings. I believe that's the way it should be done. But there's no way that Oklahoma State had the 23rd best resume last week, and now with a win over Texas Tech by 1 score, 50-44, that they suddenly have the 15th best resume this week. That's impossible. That's impossible. Cheryl's on here. She works on the van. Oh, the driver's side window stuck. Yikes. Austin. Somehow Miami makes it over Clemson in the ACC due to the FSU cancellation. Does a one-loss Clemson make it without an ACC title? Does a one-loss Clemson make it without an ACC title? How can Clemson win the ACC with only 1 loss? So, Austin, you're going to have to clarify that for me, because how does Clemson get to the ACC championship game with only... So Clemson's got 1 loss. If they go to the ACC championship game, they're either going to lose and have 2 losses, or they're going to win and have 1 loss and an ACC championship game. So I'm not seeing where they can do both. I am going to be fascinated. Let's just, it's just me, Tim, 79, to see the Ohio State situation play out, because as it stands right now, it's not looking good for them to be able to play both of these games, because Michigan's reporting all sorts of COVID issues and they've shut down football practice for right now. And if Ohio State cannot play one other game, if they cannot play both games, Michigan, Michigan State, then they're not going to make it to the Big Ten Championship. And I hope, I don't want to go through my rant again because I did it on Steve Dace's show today. I actually posted a video in which I tore up the Big Ten scenario and laid waste to it because it makes no sense. They didn't think it through. Their rules didn't make sense. And that's difficult. When you make up rules in a situation like this, to be able to think through every situation and scenario to make sure that it's going to be logically vetted out at the end, it's not an easy thing, but that's what they're paid to do. And they screwed up. Now, if Indiana goes and loses, now think about this. It's going to be made even worse if Indiana goes and loses to loses to Wisconsin this weekend, and Indiana falls to 5-2, and Ohio State's 5-0, and Indiana still goes to the Big Ten championship game. Now that will be seriously screwed up, especially if Ohio State is going to be playing on the same day. Makes no sense. Miles, who is the best chance for the Big 12 to make the national championship? Well, according to the college football rankings as they stand right now, it would be Iowa State because they're number 9, Oklahoma's number 11, and they basically have similar schedules the rest of the way. I don't know exactly who they play, but they both have winnable games. They're both in the championship game. And since Iowa State already beat Oklahoma, I would think that if they can sweep, since they've got a 2-spot edge in the rankings, then they would have the biggest opportunity. But that opportunity is still razor small, basically zero. John is asking if Notre Dame could win the national title. Yes. Yakov 22, thank you so much. I appreciate you letting me know that you're still around. Good to see. All right, everyone. I have been recording since 11:30 in the morning, and we just finished up with Cam Underwood State of the U on our Miami live show. Please check that out. And just wanted to hop on here as we do each and every night. So if you haven't heard, I will be here every night at 9 o'clock Eastern time, unless there's a situation like tonight where we had the college football playoff rankings come out at 8. We also had a Miami live stream from 7 to 8. Therefore, I just figured we'd come on right after the rankings were released and our Miami show was over. But I'm going to be sitting here every night, Monday through Friday, at 9 o'clock Eastern time, taking your calls, at least through the college football season. I have committed to at least through the college football season, aside from holiday events, family events, things like that. A few will crop up here and there. But other than that, every night, 9 o'clock Eastern time, mark it down, I'll be here. In addition to that, you cannot imagine how many records I made today. I think the count was 11. So be looking out for those videos. And if you have any requests, like SEC Power Rankings, I think I'm going to release those, then let me know. You can make any kind of requests, recommendations, suggestions, sponsor inquiries at markrogerstv@gmail. markrogerstv@gmail. I'm accessible. I'm right there. I will respond to anyone and everyone. And also, here's the deal. I need a sponsor for this show. We need a sponsor for this show. These shows will be able to continue based on the support from individuals. And thank you so much. We got some great support tonight from Hilani, Keith Morton, and New King God, I believe. And in the last show, Kyle Smith, thank you so much. Ronan, New King God, Chuck C. Thank you so much for the Super Chat contributions. Yes. So these shows will be possible because of two things. Super Chat contributions, or you can go to Venmo, PayPal, or Cash App. So basically individual
The call will
contributions,
start at the beep.
and actually more effective are the Venmo, the Cash App, and the PayPal contributions. Or if we can get a sponsor, Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Who's on the line?
Hey, Mark. It's George. How you doing?
Hey, George. I'm good. What's up?
Me too. Did you see my thing, my comment where I said I tried to do a super chat, but I couldn't?
I did not see that.
Okay, it's coming up in a little bit. But I can't remember my Google password.
Oh, boy.
And to do it, I'd have to click off and spend 5 minutes on Google.
Yeah, don't
It's
worry about it.
frustrating. 7 steps or something.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
But instead of doing that, I was thinking I would just go join the Patreon page for $20, right? And out of that $20, you'll get at least like 15 or 16, right? Maybe
Well,
17 even.
it's better. It's better than YouTube. I will get about. Let me do the math. I get about 17 something.
Right, that's not bad. That's fair.
That's
I'll
fair.
do
Yeah,
that.
that's fair.
That's better than Western Union.
Yeah, they need to run a business. I totally get it. Yep.
Right. But YouTube would take like 40% or something. They'd take 10 of it or something, right? 9 or something.
Yeah, they're at exactly. They're at 35 or 40%. And I just actually came across this information the other day because I was trying to figure out how much they take out of ad revenue. So if I shoot a video and it gets 1,000 views, I usually make about $5, which obviously is not worth my time. Therefore, I need to do much better than 1,000 views. But that's an example. YouTube takes 55% of that.
Of what? Of your $5?
Yeah.
So they give you 3? Or they give you 2 and they take 3?
Yeah, it's close to that.
Well, they're pimping you out, man.
Well, they do get the advertising. You know,
And they get the advertising.
well, I mean that they actually go out and get the ads. The ads that you see on my videos are obviously, I don't get those ads. YouTube gets those ads for anybody's channel. But still.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So they should get whatever the content creator gets plus some for acting as your advertising executive or representative.
Yeah, but I think 55% is a little much.
The mafia never did that to anybody. Come on. The mafia was cool, man. They're like, hey, man, just throw me something. All right.
Yeah.
We have this guy on our team named Ventrell Miller. He was caught up in that credit. You remember when we used to take frying pans and rocks and air rifles out to fight people?
Yeah, I certainly remember those days. I took part in that, taking out my frying pan and my rocks.
The best one I like of all was it's that receiver that's at Miami now that I'm still not sure if he ever played a game in the NFL. They keep taking him, but he's like Tony. He was like Tony, one of those guys. But he got pulled over with a fully loaded AR-15 in his backseat with one in the chamber. Who does that kind of shit, man? Like, what? You're in college. You're a football player. What's the AR-15 with one in the chamber for? Hire a bodyguard. Come on.
I got to tell you, George,
Gators.
I'm lost. I hope everybody's listening to your stories. You lost me on the whole.
I was making fun of my own team. This guy, Ventrell Miller, after that crazy shit happened, some more crazy. This is all over now. It's been over for years, you know? But I love our thug team. We are still the same thug team. We are a street gang in a uniform. I swear to God, I love our team so bad. The guy that was in on that credit card scam, he blocked the pass, and the other one intercepted a ball last week. They're all good boys. They just needed a little bit of rearing, you know? They came from the projects.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Nick Saban said it. That time his player had a gun in a nightclub or something. He said, "What do you want me to do? Destroy his life? Put him on the street forever? Or should I give him another chance?" And the guy went on to play in the NFL for 10 years. You know, it was an example he made one time. You know, can't blame the head coach for every damn thing.
Well, they kind of get paid too.
Yeah. All right. I think Notre Dame still has a chance to go to the playoffs just like Florida. Just don't lose another game, right? Everything's fair and square right now, huh? Notre Dame, Clemson, Florida, Alabama, Ohio State even. I'd throw them in there. Just don't lose another game. If you play another game. And even if they don't play another game, if Ohio State, it's just so hard to determine if you're healthy or not. If you don't play every week, how do we know?
Well, I got to say, George, that most people think that Notre Dame can lose another game, though.
No, I think I'll bet on that game just for the hell of it. Betting against Notre Dame because I've been alive a long time, and I'd be willing to lose one bet, you know. Yeah, I give people credit when credit is due. When I see Oregon win something, I'll say Oregon's a good team. Everyone talks about Oregon all the time. I'm like, they've never won anything in the history of the universe. Why are we talking about Oregon? Like, win something first.
Well, you mean a national championship. They've never won a national championship.
Right. Well, what else matters? Who cares about anything else but if that wasn't all that mattered, Georgia would be the happiest fans on earth. They win everything, but they can't win that.
Well, you are right in the public perception. I'm a big conference championship guy, George.
I agree with you. I don't think there should be such a thing as a college football playoff. It's absolutely ridiculous. Why is Cincinnati competing with Ohio State and Florida, et cetera? Everybody had their glory days. All that mattered was that damn bowl game. And then we could argue about who the national championship was, but everybody got their glory. Now nobody gets their glory, and then we get one fake champion because the referee threw the game, calling a fake pass interference call on the last play.
Wait a minute. You would not be talking about the 2003 Fiesta Bowl, would you?
Yes. Can you describe that to our listeners?
No, I'm not going to describe it to anyone because that was a fair flag that was thrown.
They can just go watch it.
They can go watch it. I think that they should watch the last 5 minutes of the game and take in a few other bad calls as well.
Hey, I'm really testing your limitations now, but can you tell me what is UCLA's record right now?
UCLA is 2-2.
2-2. And what's USC?
USC is 3-0.
What is Oregon?
Oregon is 2-1.
What's Washington?
Washington is 3-0. Oregon is 3-1. Oregon is 3-1. Washington is 3-0.
So technically, Washington and USC are in good shape, right?
Well, they're in good shape to go to the conference championship, and then we'll see what the committee thinks of undefeated Pac-12 teams.
That's really amazing. And with what? They have 3 games in, 4 games in? What is it? 4?
Well,
4?
The reason USC and Washington have played one less game is they both had a COVID game get canceled.
So they have how many games in? How many games have they played?
Only 3 for them, but Oregon's played 4.
God. This is just, even on a normal year, the whole BCS thing, or whoever chooses the invitational is crazy. But now it's really crazy.
Yeah.
Like this team played 5 games, that team played 7, he played 9.
Well, whoever's calling in, call right back. I'll get your call. But, yeah, we have the biggest extremes are, George, we've got teams out there that have played 9 games, and we've got other teams that have played 3 games.
Right. Hey, whoever's calling in, why don't you just 3-way us? We can all talk at the same time.
Yeah, that would be wise of me.
It's got to be someone that hates Florida, though, so we can do a fan duel, and they can make fun of me, and I can make fun of them. I have a hard time with that because I really don't like hurting people. Guess what I did today, Mark?
I am going to guess that and answer it next time because I'm going to take this call, George.
Yeah, just only take 1 second. I pulled up to go into my house, and there was a ferret sitting at my doorstep.
Amazing.
And that little ferret let me pick it up, and I took it back home to its owner.
Whoa! All right, that's enough of George. Oh, I lost the other call, too. Sorry, I tried to pick that up. I actually let George stay on the line. He told me the ferret story, and I was not impressed. He picked up a ferret. Okay. I got to admit this. This might be the first time ever since I've been here on a YouTube channel for 10 years that Cheryl, I'm going to admit it. Yeah, I'm kind of tapped out. All right, everyone. Appreciate all the comments here. Dependent fanatic, there are plenty of people who don't like me, and you know what? That's okay. That's fine. I say a lot of things that people don't like, and that's fine because I just try to cut it straight and do my best. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I will be back to, let's see, tomorrow's Wednesday. So tomorrow we have an Ohio State Live show in the afternoon. We don't know exactly when that's going to be, so I got to hear back from our guys, Steve, Kevin, and Tony, to figure out when they can get together. But it's going to be sometime in the afternoon, Ohio State Live. Got Florida State Live at 6, got an SEC show live at 8. And I thank you so much for all your contributions. Last call of the night. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Who's on the line? Please turn down the volume in the background. I'm hanging up in 5, 4, 3,
Hello.
2. Hello.
This is Jabari Jones.
Hey, this is Mark. What's up?
Hey, what's up, man? I gotta ask you a quick question.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on Coastal Carolina, and do you think they're overly ranked or ranked because they only played one Power 5 team, which is not really a good team? So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, do me a favor and remind me where they are ranked.
They're ranked 18.
Oh, they're at 18? I've got them at 14. I've got them at number 14. So this is the difficulty, is that this is not the NFL or the NBA where everybody's playing like opponents. It is nearly impossible to look at Coastal Carolina's schedule and try to rank how well they've played football against that schedule and then take it and compare it to an SEC team's schedule and say, how in the world, because SEC teams, for example, are playing the top 10 to 40 teams in the country every week, and Coastal Carolina is playing more like the 80th and 90th best teams in the country every week. So it's an impossible task, but they have to do it. I have to do it. Anybody has to do it that's going to rank the top 25 teams. So I am valuing their ability to make it through an entire schedule undefeated. And I'm also valuing that I don't believe that their Kansas win by any stretch is the best win that they have. I know that that's their only Power 5 win, but their win over Louisiana, I'm valuing that as being their best win, and also a win over Appalachian State. Those are their 2 impressive wins to me.
Yeah, even when you look at the American Conference, the level of play is so much higher compared to the Sun Belt. Honestly, I could take easily like James Madison, North Dakota State, and those teams, in my opinion, would probably be better than Coastal Carolina.
Yeah. Now, in terms of just sitting and watching them play and evaluating them, I really can't respond to that because I don't know how long you've been watching me, but I do my very best to watch as much football as I possibly can. I'm here from like noon till 2 o'clock in the morning on Saturday watching football, but I haven't seen a whole lot of Coastal Carolina. I did watch them play for a handful of plays against Appalachian State, but that's pretty much been it.
Okay, and I got another question. This is about Power 5. You probably answered this before, though, but I didn't hear it. But what coach should take over Texas?
Well, that's an easy answer if he is healthy enough and willing to coach, and that's Urban Meyer.
I mean, other than Urban Meyer.
Other than Urban Meyer.
Yeah, other than him.
Let me think.
I think Cincinnati's coach would be good.
Well, sure, Luke Fickell, Matt Campbell. I'm a big Matt Campbell fan out of Iowa State. Somebody else was in mind, and now I lost him. I don't know that Gary Patterson isn't just a smidge past his prime. I think I would have always been intrigued by seeing Gary Patterson coach at a place where he had all the resources. You know, what he was able to do at TCU for a number of years when they were competing at the highest level was impressive, but I think he's gotten pretty comfortable there. I don't know that he would have the fire in his belly, and maybe I wouldn't want to say that to Gary Patterson's face because maybe he still does have the fire in his belly. I just don't know. But I wouldn't want to get into a Mark Richt kind of situation where he's just doesn't have that edge anymore. Luke Fickell, Matt Campbell.
Coach Kelly.
But you never know when you're talking age because Mac Brown obviously still has the desire to compete.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. You have a good night.
All right. You too. Bye.
All right, folks. Cheryl, thank you so much for being the best moderator in the business one more time. Thank you for hanging around. And everybody else. Again, we are going to be here so many times. Tomorrow you will get sick of us. Ohio State live at a time to be determined. Florida State live at 6. SEC live at 8. We'll go right into our call-in show. So I'm going to have a number of SEC contributors on here talking SEC football at 8 o'clock Eastern time. But I will also take your calls as well. Right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Please smash that like button on the way out. Thank you.